Good evening, everyone. Welcome back again to another scintillating episode of the COVID Warriors. Today is our 10th episode, and I can assure you that this episode is going to be a very, very hard hitting one. An episode that holds absolutely no bar and not censored at all. One of the most important aspects of the show is talking about issues that are not only very close to my heart, but is close to the hearts of many of you who will be watching today. Well, COVID Warriors is not only about bringing forth the stories of the frontline warriors, but it is about bringing forth the issues that we battle or have been battling in our daily lives. I'm Dr. Somdutta Singh, and today I have an amazing firebrand entrepreneur, a woman, an empowered woman, a proud mother, Shanthi Kiran, who will be joining me in this firebrand discussion. Well, before we delve into this discussion further, I want to narrate a few stories, starting with mine. In Vedas, there is a beautiful salutation to women, which says, Krihi Brahma Babhuvit, which means, women, you're the ultimate source of enlightenment. But I often feel that we take the verses of our Vedas and Upanishads too lightly. Well, most of us are not aware, and those who are often in the need of empowerment. My today's show is not about empowering women. I don't believe in that. I deeply believe that women are already empowered. Sometimes we limit our own empowerment. Today's show is going to be talking about sexism, colorism, relationships, which has become even more important topics of discussion during the recent times. And I am going to touch upon chords that may be sometimes a little too sentimental or may feel a little too critical for a lot of you. But like I said, today's show holds no bar and has no censor. Let me start by narrating a story about my life. Well, before my adolescence or before my pre-adolescence years, this is not really how I used to look. Well, hold that thought. Well, I was always very beautiful, but I was not conforming to the so-called standards of the largest newspaper's matrimonial section that starts with fair. Yes, I was a dusky girl, and there's a reason to it. I enjoyed my sports. I was athletic. I was a tomboy. I didn't like long hair. I enjoyed my short hair. I was extremely into outdoor sports. I loved playing basketball. I loved going swimming and many more. And I was hard to beat when it came to the races. But that's what I liked. But hold on. Even though I went to an all girls school, I was often mocked for the color of my skin. And not just that, often compared to my mother, who is still an extremely beautiful woman. And during that time was as fair as I am now, according to the Indian standards of colorism, but I was often made fun of. My friends would often say to me, why don't you look like your mother? She's so beautiful, she's so fair, and you're so dark. And then we get surprised that when we grow up and we have our children and we look for spouses or we look for partners for our children, we again conform them to those traditional thought process of colorism. What a shame. Well, India may be independent today from the British domination, but what they did not leave is the supremacy for color. And like me, there are many others in India who have battled it. Well, I feel shy to say this, that time I would go through tremendous amount of insecurity because of that comparison. These were my friends in my school who were mocking me. And imagine what it can do to a child where you're living in a society where standards of supremacy is marked by the color of your skin. The second topic about sexism. Well, I don't think sexism is any stereotyping or prejudice, just men against women. I don't believe that at all. I feel in most cases, women often are most prejudiced. And that's the topic that we're going to talk about. Challenges that we faced in life. Molestation. Well, I again think the topic is not just restricted to women alone. Indeed, it's young boys who actually face molestation a lot more than women do. And they are asked to shut up, keep quiet, because men or boys are not supposed to cry. Why this prejudice? why then we get worried or we get surprised that when we get into relationships, we see that they often are not turning out to be the way we expected? Because the baggage is so large, the baggage is so deep that we often find it difficult to shed that as we become old. And those are the things that we're going to talk about today. Well, for some of you, they may be hard hitting subjects. For us, they are reality, and it's important that we talk about them even more now. Because domestic violence is on rise, and if anybody has watched Indian matchmaking, which I feel is a horrible, horrible show of extremely poor taste that shows India in the wrong light, I am sad to say that a lot of it is actually true. Women can sometimes become women's worst enemies. Even though I am blessed with the best girlfriends, a very empowered mother, but that's not very far from reality. So, Shanti, we're going to be talking about really, really important subjects. And the reason you're on the show today, this is going to be a power packed firebrand show. This show is going to be about talking about realities without having to worry about it. And I couldn't have thought of a better guest than you, because you often talk about things you believe in with an open mind, with realism, and an open heart. I welcome you to COVID Warriors and to my 10th episode, which is going to be a very, very hard hitting one. I reiterate again. Thank you so much for joining me, Shanti.
Thank you so much for such a lovely introduction, Shom. I know you since I think for the past 2 to 3 years, and you're also an amazing person. More than that entrepreneur side, I have seen your courage, the courage to speak up. Recently, you spoke up for a woman who was suffering from domestic violence in your neighborhood, right?
Right.
The entire country was calling her fake, but you had the guts to stand up and say, I know this is happening. She lives in my
Absolutely.
vicinity. So I have witnessed that. It's amazing to connect women on these notes. See, nowadays what's happening? When a woman is coming out and just saying this is happening with me, people are labeling her fake. When
Yep.
I was 8, I was molested by a neighbor whom I called bro, Anna.
Hmm.
In Telugu I
Yeah.
called Anna.
Yeah.
So this person, when I started telling, when I started resisting that, I never let him, go beyond a point. I could know that, though I was only 8 year old. I
Oh,
don't know how, but yes, yeah, 8 year old. He used to lure me with chocolates. And in that neighborhood, I was the only child with family troubles. You see how they target physically
yep.
weak, financially weak,
Yeah.
family troubles. And
Yeah.
because of family troubles, a little disturbed and lives in a big joint family of aunts, uncles, and grandparents. He did
Right.
not target the neighbor who was 8 year old, who was physically okay, and she has a stable family. No,
Right.
me. So then when I resisted, what he did? He went and told everybody in the building that she's the worst girl I ever met. She's the worst kid. She's very arrogant. Like she will never be good, any good in her life. This is what he told everybody. All the
Mm-hmm.
elders started treating me bad because of what this person said. When I grew
Mm-hmm.
up and some bad incident happened in their family recently, 7 years ago, then I revealed to my relatives, they were like, why did you not tell us? Who would believe a girl who was 8 year old and
Right.
tell these things? So that's how it is. Now we have become a, and with the social media, we are very easily saying that everything is fake. It's not that way. Even before social media was there in the year 2007, I am proudly saying this, I fought for no dowry marriages. No
Mm-hmm.
dowry.
Yep.
And everybody was like, are you beautiful? No. Are you, highly educated? No, you're only a graduate. You are from
Right.
a broken family. Your parents have separated. That's another big minus point you have. And you don't have a great job. You're hardly earning 15 to 20,000. Then who will marry you without dowry? For what will they marry you? And I was like, marriage is not mathematics. It's a relationship which I should cherish. It's not like, oh, the boy is earning. And often we say women contribute to these things
True.
because girls don't stand up and ask the question, why
Mm-hmm.
am I giving dowry and why are we making these calculations? If a guy is really good, why do we need to see the sexism for boys, how difficult it is for guys who are into unconventional careers? Again, today here we are speaking about women in unconventional
Yeah.
careers, but
Yeah.
imagine about men. Let's say entrepreneurs, so many entrepreneurs, they're hardworking, they have all the knowledge. They tell me personally, Shanti, it's difficult to find a girl to marry. Now, what kind of justice is this in the 21st century that we doubt the ability of entrepreneurs who are guys? Entrepreneur girls, okay, fine. But boys, it seems everybody's saying, hey, you don't get a conventional salary like others.
Yeah. No
So, where
security.
are we right now?
No
Yeah,
security. No
no
security.
security. Yeah,
You
in
know. You
that
know.
matter, yeah. Yeah.
Shanti, you said something very important, and we're going to talk about, like, the segment is divided into like three parts because I want to start with colorism and I want to talk about sexism. And I
Yes.
think sexism is not limited to women alone. I
Yes.
think the reason men become or turn out to be violent and like I would say, like emotionally fractured because they see sexism happening to them even in their family, and sometimes the sexism is even to the choices that they make. Like, for example, if the elder brother is straight, or rather prefers women, and the younger brother prefers men, then there is sexism there as well, right? And then you're looked down
Yes.
upon. You're like, oh my God, you are not a man. Just because you decide to love who you love, the questions of you are not a man enough comes into picture. But before I delve into those subjects, Shanti, I want to start with colorism. I have faced it. I have faced it when I was young, when I was not an adolescent. I was born, like, they say, like, when you're born, my mom was delivered, my mom was delivered a good news, but I was a very, very sick baby. I had to go through multiple surgeries even before I turned one, because I was born with a very big tumor where the chances of me getting better was very limited. Well, my mom's challenges started with that, where she was said, oh, you know what, you're all the time busy in your profession. You did not take enough care when you were pregnant. See what has happened, you have a very sick child. She was made to feel that it was her fault that I had a problem when I was born. And at that point in time, we don't have the kind of medical opportunities or the kind of
Yes.
medical
Yes.
advances that we had that time. Well, it didn't end there. I was born a very, sick child, but I was very fair and everything else. But the whole term very fair was also a standard, right? Because if the baby is dusky, then you're made to feel, oh my God, there is some other problem. Who will marry her? But the
Oh.
problem started when I was in school, Shanti. The problem started when I was not like the other girls, when I was not as feminine as they are. They were, rather, right? And I was a
Yes.
tomboy. Shanti, I was an absolute tomboy. I had short hair. At that time, it was called wedge cut. I used to love sports, and I really did not enjoy academics as during my young age, because I liked my father had already introduced me to such great books, so much of philosophy, and I was already learning the Vedas and Upanishads at such a young age that the typical mode of education never enticed me, because it was so conformed, it was so old school, that I was always questioning my teachers, and they didn't like me too much because I was already either rebelling them or questioning them or not, aligning to their thought process. But the problem never ended there. The problem was when my own friends would make me feel inferior because I was not as fair or as beautiful as my own mother. Like, imagine what it can do to a child who's 8 or 9 years old, because she doesn't even know the demarcation. And I
Exactly.
don't blame, and I don't blame them. They were listening to this in their family because they were made to believe that being of a certain color was a certain standard. If you did not belong to that color, or you are not as fair, then you're not equal. You're not beautiful. So the standard of beauty is defined by fairness, and it took 30 damn years for Fair and Lovely to drop fair when it doesn't even make you fair. We all know scientifically it's not possible,
Exactly.
because
Yeah.
the color of the skin is determined genetically, and also the melanin composition, and how you're genetically built. Like, my daughter is dusky, and I want her to feel it's amazing to be dusky, because dusky is beautiful. But Shanti, you are fair, and you hear that a lot, because people say,
Yes.
oh, you're fair and beautiful. And you know how our newspapers even are. When you see the matrimonial section, it talks about fair as the first criteria for marriage. And it's
Yes.
specifically to women. So we'll start talking about colorism. Tell me your experience with colorism, and what kind of prejudice did you face?
My mother is dark complexion. My mom is like wheatish complexion. So people were surprised whenever I go out with my mom and all. Is she your mom? Does she speak English? Excuse me, my mom is pursuing her diploma in French after 4 levels now. She passed 4 levels of French and now she's pursuing diploma. She's a double postgraduate. So color is directly linked to her education. There are people asking me, does she speak English? and she's an English teacher, by the way.
Can you believe
She's an English teacher for the past like 25, yeah, 25 to 30 years, 30 years actually. Yeah. And people look at her and say, does she understand English? Does she speak in English? So color
that?
is linked to your education also, show. You forgot that?
Can you
So
believe
if
it?
I'm fair, yeah, see, I have seen this, I have experienced, and people who knew that, I was ready to get married and stuff. The girl is fair, we will take 1 lakh less dowry. I said, but the boys, I don't like him that much in looks. He doesn't seem to be good looking. Can he give 2 lakhs reverse dowry to me, counter dowry? Then, yeah,
I
I
love
did ask some people these questions. Your boy isn't okay. You are going by looks and giving me a discount. I will also demand something because your guy isn't good looking, or maybe the education is less in your family. So I was a rebel. See, I haven't done any unconventional things or even falling in love, getting married like that. But yeah, I kept a mixture of both. Like I had a marriage which took a really too long time for an arranged marriage and shorter time for a love marriage. So it's that way. But when I took these unconventional decisions, as you told, even girls dumped me. Girls left me. My best friends, they literally left me because I was fighting against dowry. And in this aspect, color also comes. What is the kind of discount they give me because I'm fair, and what hard work did I do because to be fair? As you
Yeah.
said, at 16, I suddenly became fair. I
Me
became
too.
a little chubby.
Exactly.
Yeah.
After my adolescence, like what happens that girls hit their
Hmm.
adolescence, you
Yeah.
hit your period, and you suddenly transform. And I
Yeah.
completely like not only transformed, it's like people were like, oh my god, and it's not that my features changed at all. What
So beauty
changed?
is already there. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like if you see my daughter, she has better features than any one of us in the family, but she's
She's
dusky.
beautiful. Yeah. Hmm.
She's dusky.
I
So
know.
even her
My
friends,
son is dusky.
yeah, and even her
Yes.
friends at this age say that, oh my God, your mom is so beautiful. But the definition of beauty comes from where? Is the color of the skin. And I told her the story. I said, Siddhi, this happened to me. So I don't want you to ever believe you are way more beautiful than I am because what you have, I don't have. And I always remind her. And now she's become very empowered, right? So imagine if
Very
the
nice.
mother, I'm lucky, you're lucky that our mothers are so educated that they knew the difference and they could nurture us. But Shanti, think about those families. Think about those families where you do not have that kind of source of education. And if the
Yes.
mother in law who's looking for a wife for the son is talking about her complexion, and you saw that in the Indian matchmaking, right? Which is now the
Yeah.
top show in Netflix. I mean, I have a friend, okay, who is in US, and he's by the way Latin American. He is very like Latin American have a lot of commonalities with Indian and everything else. Like
Yes.
I often
Yes.
when I go back to US, people actually think that I'm a Latino because of features, and I think you'll hear it too if you go there because of the features and everything else.
Yes.
And he was telling me that, hey, Sean, he just pinged me and he said, you know what? I watched the show. How real is it? Does it actually happen in India? That a woman who is in like maybe in her 30s and have not decided to get married, and I have heard that. I've had people ask me when I became a single mother, it was my choice that I wanted a baby in my life and I wanted to become a mother, just like what Sushmita Sen did. You know how stereotyped people were making Sushmita Sen, right? That, oh my God, something is wrong. She must have done something. Where did the baby come from? Ridiculousness to the next level. And I'm of course going to go to that later, but I'm going to talk about Shanti, the colorism also exists in men, right? Like
Yes.
South
Yes.
Indian versus North Indian. And South
Well,
Indian
huh.
are often deemed to be the darker complexion one and not so attractive.
Yeah, dark guys are hot. You tell me.
Yeah, I know, but
Yeah, I feel so. No, anybody. See, it's not like even in boys. What is the formula show? I grew up in this small town in Karnataka called Bidar. So everywhere
mm-hmm,
I was told, choose a dark guy who earns
mm-hmm,
well.
mm-hmm,
So a fair guy earns well will deserve even much more beautiful girl than me. A
mm-hmm,
dark guy who earns well deserves me because
mm-hmm,
I'm fair and he's dark. And
mm-hmm.
then if a dark guy doesn't earn more, he will choose a dark bride. What kind of calculations and formulas are these, and who comes up with all this? I don't know.
No,
Literally, they always told me sell your complexion.
yeah,
Well,
like and it look at the irony. I when I'm in US, like my partner used to tell me that I want you to be more tan. Means they pay money to look
Yes.
darker.
Yes.
Because being
Yes.
tanned is sexy, being tanned is beautiful, being tanned is attractive. Like there are tanning parlors in every nook and corner. But look at
Yes.
our mindset. Look at what years of invasion has done to us, that it has left us with a white supremacy mindset where we still bow our head in front of someone who's of a lighter color, of a lighter skin tone. And Shanti, I hate to say this, my previous relationship was with someone for whom, again, being of a certain color was of a great prominence. Huge, right? Because
Yes.
people give that importance, and they say, you know what, if you're not fair, you're fair. Oh my god, I can see the veins in your skin, it's so gorgeous. What's so gorgeous about it? I think it's ugly, you can see my
It's
veins.
gross. Yeah.
It grows. Like I have to wear concealer sometimes to hide the fine veins under my eyes, because they look so prominent, because sometimes if your skin is too light, you can see them. And when the world celebrates dusky beauties, from a Naomi Campbell, who's still
Yes.
now the highest paid model in the world, and I'm talking about from the last 35 years, to some of the to some of the biggest stars in Hollywood now, where color is celebrated so with so much of significance. But that was not the case even there. Even there, it took years for people of a certain color to get the prominence they deserve. And even now, they're fighting against the black and white supremacy, right? Because
Yes.
people of African American descent are termed as slaves, even though United States of America is a country of immigrants, has no heritage, has no history, but till now keeps battling that aspect. And that's why, very recently the whole Black Lives Matter went
Yes.
on. Shanti, what
So,
should we do? Who holds this mantle of change? Is it
see, why do we pick up all the wrong things from other show? We always have this excuse of invasion, right? I'm
right?
sorry if I'm being harsh on that.
No,
So,
it's
did
good.
you learn good things from them? Did we learn great things from them? We don't. All we pick up is the wrong things sometimes. They learn our yoga.
Yeah, yeah,
They learn the best things from us.
yeah,
And
true.
color and caste connection. I spoke to you about color and education, right? Regarding my mom. Now, do you know the color and caste connection? People
Yeah.
look at me and guess my caste
Hmm.
because this particular, I hate to use the word, I haven't grown up like this, I haven't been brought up like this, but I've been pushed into a society where people speak about caste, class, and I'm a person who doesn't even understand why genders are different. Yesterday when I watched this movie Shakuntala, she says
Hmm.
ye mother aurat, why are they different? So exactly, that's something I go through, I don't understand, and add all these things to my confusion.
Hmm.
Seriously, they were guessing my color and my caste. Of course, maybe they guessed it right. But why is it supposed to be so? Why can't this is a very mean connection. And when we are using invasion as excuse for everything, treating our
Hmm.
own people bad, these guys
Hmm.
left almost 100 years ago. Yeah. Now let's have our own culture. We already have our own culture, right? Thousands of years of glorious culture and
Right.
Vedas. Beautiful sentence you opened this chat show with. So what has happened to that all? Why don't we go through that and see what good things have been told in our culture? Why borrow something others said? When we got rid of gore log, as they said, they called Britishers. Why are we wanting to rule according to our color? This is wrong. This change lies in our own hands, our generation, our elders, our women. Often women want to look fair rather than guys. The conditioning
Hmm.
has been the fairer you are, the better husband you will get.
Not just
The
that,
fairer you are, yeah.
but Shanti, fairness has direct impact to even your career. It's not just a
Yes.
better husband. There are women I know of, and I'm not going to name them because some of them are my friends, and I don't want to name them without their permission, who have been rejected from jobs because of the way they look, because they think they went for. So there's this friend of mine who is highly educated, one of the most smartest people I know. But when she went for a job, and this is a multinational company in India, when she went for a job, and she went for a job of a business development manager, she was told that you may look a little repulsive to the clients because of the way you look. Means not in exact words, but saying that you need to work on your grooming, or you need to work a little more about your presentation. And that, honestly, I don't think it was the way she dressed up or the way her hair was. It was the color of her skin. She's very dark. So on one hand, country like United States is talking about Black Lives Matter, but I myself was prejudiced, right? Because I grew up in such a prejudice that when my skin color was a definition of how I was treated, when my color of my skin started changing, I started feeling that, oh my God, now I'm better. I have an upper hand. When I walk into a room and heads turn, mostly it's because of not just the way my dress looks. If I was 5 shades darker than the way I am, you think that would happen, Shanti? Maybe in US, but not in India for sure.
Well, I was, when there were a group of friends who were joking around that if you're highly educated, you will get a beautiful wife like Shanti, fair girl, because my guy is highly educated. I turned back and said, excuse me, even if he was only, a normal PG, UG, whatever it is, I would have got married to him. It's not about the color, it's about a person. So they link everything to my color. They believe that a guy will marry me, a good guy will marry me because of my color. And opportunities, so many girls are being rejected the role of a receptionist. They say
Hmm.
fair, good looking.
Yeah,
Now I think we have come out of that mindset, and nowadays people are particular that these things are not mentioned anywhere. Color is not mentioned anywhere. It's better, so I'll assure you that things are better and they're going to be better for us. It's not like, completely like earlier. We are changing, and wherever I'm noticing, so what we can do is, wherever I'm noticing this kind of prejudice, I'm speaking up. I will say, see, I was compared, a dark girl was sitting beside me in an office, and people who were like staring at her, staring at me, staring at her, staring at me, and a kind of sarcastic smiles,
hmm,
I felt terrible. What did I do? What merit did I do to get this complexion? I just inherited it from my paternal aunts. Did I
hmm,
work hard towards it? No. But what am I working hard towards? I'm working hard towards my career, right?
absolutely.
I'm working hard towards my intellect, towards my
Right,
compassion. Try
right.
to feed animals and that stuff. I'm trying to do so many things which actually require my hard work. Why do you reduce me to only one thing, that is my color? Why am I just, and they also tell you, you are speaking about what dark girls face, right? Let me
Yeah,
speak about what white fair girls like you and me face. We are just
yeah,
pretty faces. Any
absolutely.
company would like to have us as a pretty face most of the time. I was
Yeah,
told by some people, and I refused such offers. Something like, you have to, because you are like this, you are, see dude, that isn't done. If I go there and speak nonsense, they are going to kick me out if I don't have the intelligence that's there. And
absolutely.
being fair, I was always told that, thought of as, dumb girl, because I apply makeup, I'm dumb.
Yeah.
And why is beauty intelligence mutually exclusive? Why is beauty and compassion mutually exclusive?
Think about
Why
it. In
is,
US,
yeah,
in US, if you're blonde, blonde is a
dumb?
derogatory term. Blonde
Yeah,
means you are dumb. So if you're blonde and you're beautiful, means you ought to be dumb. So
legally blonde. That's
so
what
it
they say. Yeah,
you remember that movie Legally Blonde, right? So
yeah,
the prejudice is not just in our country. The prejudice exists, and
universe.
especially because I have traveled the world. I've gone over 50 countries. I live in US a large part of my time. I can tell you one thing, that the prejudice is of a different way, but the prejudice is just there. But Shanti, there's Sudhi, who's chatting with us today, is asking, isn't colorism a challenge with men too? Like in a big way?
Yes,
Like,
very much. As I told you, dark guy is supposed to earn well and get a fair wife. What kind of calculation is that?
what about wife? Forget about wife. Forget about wife. If you are, let's say, I haven't used these apps, but I have heard it from friends. When you're on Tinder, sometimes the swiping left and right is determined by the way you look, and a lot of times the color of your skin. So my question to you is this: that forget about marriage. I'm not even going to come to marriage. I'm going to come to marriage later, but I'm going to ask you this question: that if somebody is looking for love, somebody is looking to date a girl, do you think girls are open to men who are very dark? Like, we say tall, dark, and handsome, but that's very bookish. Do you think men don't
Yes,
face that prejudice?
they do face. They do
Yep.
face. They do face. I don't say no to that. Men have to come out and speak up for themselves when these incidents happen. These are hushed up. These are all, like swept off under a carpet. They don't talk about it. Even men have to open up. Like, I'm opening up about women's issue. It's high time men speak up about these things. And why should a man solely be responsible for income of a family? You tell me why. Why is he solely supposed to do this, and why does that determine his there is a I'll tell you one thing, show. Actually, some a man shared this with me. For a woman, her beauty is her wealth. For a man, his wealth is his beauty.
Wow, wow, wow.
Really,
Yeah,
literally,
well,
I
no, I'm sure because look, I hate to bring up the show again and again, but the reason I do is because this is recent and people are watching it across the world, and that's the notion that they're getting, right. Where this Marwari mother-in-law is talking about all the jewelry that that she's holding for her, younger son's marriage, and the younger son is looking for a woman, and his criteria is that she has to be fair, she has to be tall, and she has to be slim. She has to be slim. So it's not just about colorism, body shaming, which is something
yes,
which we have been fighting, and now it's all about curvaceous is beautiful. And since the like of Kardashians made it like being curvaceous is the best thing ever, like it's all about being curvaceous. Even lingerie models are curvaceous. Well, all that is happening, but the truth is that the demand is still that you're going to have, like, the mother-in-law. It's a
yes,
woman. And that's why I
yes.
started by saying that, is a woman really, a woman's worst enemy at times? Because you have two sons. If you don't educate them and create the notion of beauty is so paradoxical, then how are they supposed to treat their wives? And then she's telling the elder son's, younger son, that you have to get married so that your elder brother can now have a
Can
child.
have a
Like,
baby. Yeah.
wait, I was like, so that brings me to the next thing. Marriage, like, if you read I'm sure you do, you have a lot of interest in philosophy, but marriage was legalized for the purpose of procreation, because you wanted to define
Yes.
a bloodline. If you see 1,000 years back, women, men and women both had multiple relationships. Even our Mahabharatas were more progressive than we are today, right?
Yeah.
That a woman could have 5 husbands, and hey, you can't get all the qualities in one, so you have five. What's wrong in that? But the thing is, I'm talking about this whole progressive and regressive thinking, right? Where it's a woman who's at the anchor of the household, is determining the fate of her son and the fate of another girl that's coming to the family. Like, how, like, what has been your experience with that? Like, tell me a little bit about that.
Women treating women bad, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, in this whole Indian matchmaking thing, all
Yeah.
it shows is that it's the mother that is the anchor of the family, and she's the one
Yeah,
who's,
she also says in that show that it's my home, it's my rules, my family has followed that, and you too have to follow. Have you
yeah,
seen that? Yeah.
of course.
Okay. So I face this from lots of women who tell me how to be. It's not
Mm-hmm.
about you are speaking about looks and all. Yes, they all have a criteria. Fair girl. I've spoken to many moms who are very spiritual, but when I ask auntie, "आपको कैसी लड़की चाहिए, कैसी बहू चाहिए,"
Huh.
and they go on like, "We want fair, we want slim."
Huh.
So tomorrow, if she, and this attitude leads to extramarital affairs in men. Are you aware of this show? This
Of course.
conditioning.
Of
Wife
course.
becomes plump after
Why?
babies, like I have become. Yeah. And husband, what he does now, he no longer loves her because he's used to that slim, fair girl. Yeah. And then he goes out in the search of some colleague or someone who is having that personality. And this changes after a while. Then he is behind another woman, right?
Mhm.
These kind of attitudes are making men truly, not loyal to their partners, especially
Mhm.
after getting married. And a
Right.
wife becomes a little chubby after pregnancy or a childbirth. Men are resorting to dating apps.
Yeah.
I was, someone very sarcastically told me that their wife is plump in a
Mm-hmm.
way, like, he used that three-letter word fat.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh my God, what is this? And later I come to know he's into other relations and he calls himself a free spirit.
So yeah. So again, the term open relationships, being free spirit. Now my question is this, Shanti. We touched upon extramarital relationships, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, do you really think sometimes it's it happens because it's a way for someone to find validation or consolation with someone else because you're so belittled in your relationship. Like the word extramarital means that you're looking
Mm-hmm.
for something extra beyond your marriage, right?
Yes.
Because if marriage is just reduced to procreation and it lacks compassion, it lacks communication, it lacks
Yes.
confidence. Shanti, we people give our work attention, and we give our work focus all the time because we're so scared that you're going to end up losing your job or you're going to end up losing money in your entrepreneurial venture. But when it comes to relationships, we don't put that effort at all. Once the honeymoon period has passed, then you take the relationship for granted. Do you think sometimes extramarital relationships are purely because of lack of communication and compassion and pure lack of respect in the relationship?
Yes, very much. And there is an aspect of abuse also shown. And again, there are two genders as we are speaking about now. If you are speaking about a man who is lacking compassion at home, he's
Mhm,
entitled to that relation. He's free to be on dating apps. He's free to date others and be a serial cheater. And when it
mhm,
all comes out and he's exposed, even family will support him, saying that after some days he will change.
uh-huh,
He did it. You are responsible for the man cheating. I've had friends who were told by parents that you are responsible for your guys cheating and you should go back to him no matter what. They sent this girl back to that home and said गलती हमारी बेटी की है, शायद इसने उसको खुश नहीं किया होगा इसलिए वो चला गया इस तरह. So if it's a woman doing,
mhm.
you all know all the words they use, right?
Absolutely.
If I
So,
expose a man today
so
who is on a dating app,
she's
he's
a,
not losing anything.
there's no harm. She's a slut. She's a whore.
Yeah.
She's characterless because she seeks love and attention from somewhere else because she's not getting in the relationship. So, Shanti, हम हमेशा बोलते हैं ना कि and I'm saying a little bit in Hindi because हमारे काफी जो audience है वो हिंदी में, and it's not that I do my shows in Hindi, but it's important because हम बहुत बहुत important मुद्दे पे बात कर रहे हैं जो
जी.
बोलते हैं ना कि कैंसर से भी ज्यादा खतरनाक है जो हमारी पीढ़ी को खा रही है. एक तो है द कलर सुप्रीमेसी, दूसरा द होल द कंफॉर्मिटी टू सेइंग दैट एक बार रिश्ता बना लिया, once you get married, you stay in it, but then you're free to do whatever you want outside of it. Why can I not leave a marriage that is not giving me what I'm looking for? Not no respect, no compassion, no understanding, no communication, none of that. The moment you leave that marriage and you decide to get out, the woman is called second hand.
Yes.
I'm not kidding, Shanti. These are things that
Yes, that is a fact. एक थप्पड़ में भी जैसे डिवोर्स का टैग तो इस पे लगेगा.
अरे थप्पड़ तो सबसे बड़ा थप्पड़ वो है कि आपने अगर शादी कर ली, once you get married, और आपको हर एक मिनट के लिए भी लगा that this was wrong, even after 2 months if you get out of it, you have a tag
Yeah.
divorcee and second hand. How many times does a man has to bear this tag and worry about it? And the reason I'm saying this is
No.
I have nothing against men. I think men are the ones who need empowerment. It is not women. Women take their empowerment too lightly, is why we are struggling today. You tell me something, Shanti. Have you heard the mother of a son saying, hey, you know what? It's okay. Let's say the son has never been married before. And the mother
Mhm.
of the son saying, you know what? It's okay. She's a wonderful girl. So what? Something didn't work out. She is going to give you a lot of happiness. Have you heard that?
No.
I want to know because I have not.
No.
I have
No, I
not
haven't.
I have not. Where literally I have had my friends who have been told that if you are looking for someone, go to a site where you will get people who are divorced like you. So a woman doesn't have a chance to a relationship with someone who has never been married before because she's been married before. But it's okay if that boy has had tens and hundreds of relationships and have come out of it. So this taboo of being divorced is also one of the reasons people are staying in unhealthy relationships.
Exactly. And I don't know. See, Shom, the thing is, I don't understand why this taboo is for women only. I know very, someone I knew from close. Like the guy got married hardly in 5 months of divorce.
Mm-hmm.
Just 5 months. 5 months of divorce, he got married, and I think he's a dad now.
Mm-hmm.
It's so easy for a man, but for a woman, it isn't, because she will do it again. She will do it again. This is what they said. So when it comes a man, you're not afraid that he will do it again to the next girl. Why is that? And I tell you, this is because we have confined man to only one thing, his work. If he's
Correct.
having a job, that's enough. If I marry someone today, and let's say I'm single, and if I got married to someone today who's earning well, and after 6 months or 1 year or 6 years I leave him, and he is
Mm-hmm.
grown in his career, and me being the fool who will make the sacrifices, and once I leave him, he is again eligible without any problem, because all women look for is a job. And this is also a problem with women. If you are
Exactly
leaving
what.
a guy today, hundreds of women are waiting there to catch him. Do you understand that?
Oh
Because
yes.
of his status, because of his earning. But despite you are having that earning and status or success, no one will come to you, because आप तो औरत हो, right? आपके पास तो टाइम भी नहीं रहेगा. We have confined both the genders to these roles. एक औरत का ये प्राइमरी ड्यूटी होता है कि रिश्तों को निभाना.
Correct.
औरतों को रिश्ते निभाना चाहिए, और आदमी को तो घर चलाना चाहिए. वो जब तक घर चलाएगा, वो एक अच्छा मर्द है.
Hmm.
औरत जब तक वो रिश्तों को निभाएगी, वो एक अच्छी औरत है. व्हेन शी
Mm-hmm.
फेल्स एट दिस, जब वो किसी भी बड़े चीज को लेके, या फिर बड़ी बड़ी प्रॉब्लम्स को लेके बाहर निकलती है कि मुझे इस नरक से बाहर निकलना है, उसको कोई नहीं देखता, क्योंकि उसने अपना फर्ज नहीं निभाया. Even if the guy slaps her, hits her, cheats on her, she's supposed to adjust. I told you about dating apps, right? If I
Right.
expose the man, he's not losing anything. बीवी उसको कभी छोड़ के नहीं जाएगी, क्योंकि इसके पास पैसा है. Maybe he has a social status, be or he's working somewhere. लेकिन अगर उसकी बीवी ने वही काम किया और मैंने एक्सपोज किया, तो क्या होगा? एक मोमेंट में उसको छोड़ के चला जाएगा, वो एक मिनट भी नहीं सोचेगा.
So
That
I
is
tell you,
what.
मैं आपको एक स्टोरी बताती हूँ. मेरी बेस्ट फ्रेंड है, एंड मैं उसकी नाम नहीं लूंगी, पर वो शी वाज गोइंग टू गेट मैरिड. उसकी एंगेजमेंट हो चुकी थी, लड़के के साथ शादी होने वाली थी. लड़का लड़के के पास कॉफी एस्टेट था, ये था वो था, पर उसको कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता था, बिकॉज शी इज सुपर सक्सेसफुल हरसेल्फ.
Mm-hmm.
बाद में पता चला लड़का एक नंबर का फ्रॉड है. एक
Okay.
नंबर का फ्रॉड है. उसने अपनी पूरी एवरीथिंग दैट ही सेड अबाउट हिमसेल्फ, अपनी पूरी जिंदगी के बारे में जो भी उसने बताया, वो पूरी फ्रॉड थी.
Mm-hmm.
लड़के की फैमिली अच्छी है, बट लड़का फ्रॉड है. सो you can imagine that. And guess what, after they got after the engagement broke up and everything happened, and which is like the smartest thing she did, because एक बार शादी हो जाती तो जिंदगी भर उसमें पूरी पूरी
See.
जिंदगी बर्बाद हो जाती है उसकी, राइट? मतलब सोचो, शादी के बाद अगर उसको पता चले, एंड देन अगेन द टैबू, 2 महीने के बाद भी
Yeah.
छोड़ दिया, बी लाइक व्हाट, अरे डिवोर्स ही है यार, उसमें कोई प्रॉब्लम हुई होगी, उसमें कोई खामी हुई होगी, उसमें कोई इश्यूज हुए होंगे. अरे लड़का तो मतलब ही कम्स फ्रॉम अ गुड फैमिली. अरे even if the guy comes from a good family, does not mean he's a good guy.
Yes. Exactly. Exactly.
And that guy was next, within months on the same dating app with another woman. And his exes got in touch with my friend and told about him and everything else, and tried warning the other girl, but that girl didn't listen. The next girl that he was with, उसको फर्क नहीं पड़ा. उसने बोला नहीं नहीं, मुझे नहीं जानना, शायद आपके साथ गलत हुआ होगा, but मेरे साथ अच्छा है. You know why? She comes from a very simple family, and all she's looking for is security. And the fact that he has estate, etc., etc., is making her feel that being with him will give her some kind of security.
एग्जैक्टली दिस व्हाट ये माँ बाप भी यही बोलते हैं ना बचपन से. कोई तेरे लिए राजकुमार आएगा, तुझे घोड़े पे बिठा के ले जाएगा, तुझे बहुत खुश रखेगा. मुझे कोई खुश रखे, वो किसकी ड्यूटी है? मेरी खुशी. मुझे भी बचपन में बहुत बार ये बोला गया था कि तू इतनी बोलती है ना, समवन विल कम एंड कोई आके तेरी बोलती बंद कर देगा, कोई राजकुमार आके तेरी बोलती एक दिन बंद कर देगा. मेरी बोलती कौन बंद कर देगा? आज क्या मैं चुप बैठी हूँ, आई एम मैरिड राइट नाउ, आई हैव अ चाइल्ड, तो मेरी बोलती आज किसने बंद किया है? नोबडी कैन. ये कंडीशनिंग है. They are doing anything to the extent of marrying a fraudulent person despite getting warned. Is the girl doesn't have faith in herself. खुद बांधो एम्पायर, खुद खरीदो कॉफी एस्टेट, चाहे 50 साल की हो जाओ. 35 आई स्टार्टेड शो, आई स्टार्टेड करियर एट 30. लिटरली
Yeah.
माई करियर स्टार्टेड एट 30. अभी भी
Mm-hmm.
यू नो ऑल द स्टोरी राइट. फॉर द पास्ट 5 years, 2-3 साल तो कोई जानता भी नहीं था मुझे. पिछले 2-3 साल से पीपल स्टार्टेड नोइंग मी. सो मैंने खुद, आई मेड माई सोशल आइडेंटिटी. I'm not dependent on anybody for my social. I am socially independent right now. I'm emotionally independent. I'm intellectually independent. ये बातें हम लड़कियों को क्यों नहीं सिखा रहे? हम ये क्यों नहीं बोल रहे हैं कि फाइनेंशियली इंडिपेंडेंट भी बन जाओ. दिस
Mm-hmm.
आई बॉट बाय द वे, दिस आई बॉट, या मैं छोटी छोटी चीजें अपने लिए खरीदती हूँ, लेकिन खुद के लिए बहुत कुछ करती हूँ. मे बी
Exactly.
टचवुड आई नीड नॉट मे बी टेक केयर ऑफ फैमिली, बट देन मैं खुद के लिए बहुत कुछ करती हूँ. आई बिलीव इन डूइंग थिंग्स फॉर माई सेल्फ. ये एटीट्यूड हम बच्चों को, इवन आई वॉज इन टॉट दैट मच, बिकॉज मे बी इट्स टायरसम फॉर वीमेन को इमोशनल बोला गया है, एंड men are supposed to be this logical intelligent beings. क्यों? So
So
this
why
is a
can't I like
conditioning.
that? Why is it not okay for a man to cry? The reason,
Exactly.
like there are so many movies that has been made, even in US, which you know about, right? You know how young boys were molested, and by the way, the highest percentage of pedophile happens with young boys. It's just that they keep
Yes.
shut. I have a very close friend of mine who a boy was gang raped in a school because of his sexual preference. He's gay.
Oh,
He's gay. So when they found that out, they decided to torture him. Can you imagine can you imagine the psychological impact that it has on a human being? And we only raise voices about, women being raped. I was reading an article somewhere a few days back that, oh my God, COVID is a boom in a way because the number of rape cases has gone down. I'm like,
wow.
wow, what? It takes a virus to minimize crime in my country and to reduce the number of rapes happening. But who's going to raise voice against what is happening to children within their family? Shanti,
Exactly.
just
Domestic violence. Domestic. I have talked to 3, 4 girls home, and I was so traumatized for 1 month that I stopped talking for a while to people.
Shanti,
Domestic violence.
forget about domestic violence. You talked about molestation, right? Domestic violence
Yeah.
comes a lot later, which has become even more prominent and prudent after COVID. Because मुझे नहीं लगता कि इतने इतनी आदत थी लोगों को एक साथ रहने की. मतलब
Hmm.
distance I think sometimes is a blessing. But जब लोग साथ में रहना शुरू हुए तो I think ये ज्यादा होने लगा कि there are now you understand that you're not compatible. There are issues.
Yes.
I have
Yes.
so many of my well wishers who reached out and said that everybody's having problem in the relationship. But before the relationship, being molested, being treated or touched inappropriately, when do we? Where is that line to raise the voice? And I'm going to share this with you, Shanti. I was 7 or 8 years old, and this was my father's own uncle, somebody who I call granddad, would
Granted.
make me sit on his lap, touch me inappropriately, kiss me inappropriately, and his wife is in the same house, seeing this, not raising a voice. When my parents found out about this, they not only disassociated themselves from him completely, and this is my father's own uncle, but that always left an indelible mark in my mind, Shanti. I never got over it. Even though my dad is such a reputed psychiatrist, my mom is such a
Yes.
reputed medical professional, like I could not get over it. It always played at the back of my mind. He was a demon. एक असुर होता है ना, असुर का
Yes.
definition, असुर का definition वही है कि sur and asur, because Dev, like they say, Dev and Devari, they both are a part of the same thing. It's a part of your same identity. So sur and asur is a part of the same thing. Asur has asur, right? Even devtas are referred to that. So what happened? Like what? Why are, in my case at least, my parents stood up for me? But
Yes.
why is that the voices of the boys and the girls who've been molested are hushed in the family? Because they don't want any धब्बा लग जाएगा घर पे यार. मतलब हमारे स्टेटस पे धब्बा लग जाएगा अगर हमने बोल दिया. So it's okay for somebody to touch your kids inappropriately.
It's not at all acceptable, Shom. It's not at all acceptable. These guys should be punished very severely. And Galti family members, ke, they have to wake up and understand. They all know that. You think they don't know that children's psyche will be damaged and all? They know. They choose silence because of in our society a lot of thing is made about prestige. आज मैं अगर फटे हुए कपड़े पहन के जाऊं, चाहे इतने दिनों का जो फेम है, perhaps it will go away. उस छोटी सी चीज के लिए बच्चों को इस तरह टॉर्चर करना, इट्स नॉट एक्सेप्टेबल. People should understand something, Shom. So there are many guys in my circle who, some of my friends or maybe people like that, they associate my family is very big. My family social status.
Mm-hmm.
ये लड़के चाहे कुछ भी करे वो बाहर नहीं आएगा, क्योंकि सोशल स्टेटस है, इसलिए लड़कियां भी बाहर नहीं बोलेगी. एज आई टोल्ड यू, लाइक डेटिंग एप्स एंड स्टफ, दे वोंट. This attitude has to change from the women in the family. They have to come out and say that, screw your status, screw
What
your
about
social status, I
what
don't care.
about the boys who get molested? Because women do the
Yeah,
same.
even
I know that. I have seen that in my family. That a woman, like, of course, my far off relative, but I always, I used to always doubt her. She was an elderly lady. She always, would touch the boys inappropriate. I always had to
woman.
think that
Okay.
I lose my
This
voice. People started calling me the devil in the house. Families like, शोम को तो आदत है हर चीज में अपना ना कराने की. But when I saw that, I'm like, how can you guys keep quiet? This
Yes,
woman
I
is
heard of a story. Yeah, similar thing I heard. Someone shared with me that I became like, he was like serial player kind of a person. He shared with me, Shanti, when I was in 10th standard, an auntie molested me. So I don't know, I will never get over that. Thank God that later he was able to get married by the age of 30. He could get over those things. But he shared with me, why not with anybody else in his family or friends, only with me? Because we speak, and people need to speak up. Shom, this attitude needs to change and stop giving importance so much about this family prestige. In Telugu they say paru, honor, family honor. Honor is
Mhm.
the word. Honor के लिए तो लोगों को मार भी डालते हैं लोग. Honor के लिए
With
तो how
honor
did it come?
killing. That's what happens. No, honor
Yeah.
killing.
Yeah,
Not
I
very
think
long
we
ago.
are obsessed with honor, name, society. May see, Shom, who these guys will not pay our bills. These people whom
Exactly.
we consider for my social status. कल मैं बीमार पड़ जाऊं, nobody will come and take care of me. How can you? I don't know how these people base their entire lives on someone else's validation. जो कल एक अफवाह उड़ने से, अफवाह के आने से, everything will be down the drain. If I tell tomorrow to everybody, Shom has cheated me out of 10 lakhs, all the fame will go, right? Or you tell people that Shanti has stolen something from my office, all the fame will go. It is just about words. Fame
Nobody
is
is
about
going to come
words.
to verify it. Nobody is going to come to. That's the thing, that we
Exactly.
are so attached and attracted to negativity. Here, the
Yes.
moment there is any kind of negative story, the reason fake news get more attention than real
Hmm.
news is because people love to attach themselves to negativity. It's a mind.
Exactly.
And it's
Yeah.
such difficult. Like, you're 40 and you're single. You're 30 and you're single. If you don't have a baby by this time, oh my God, what is going to happen? If at least now it's changing because of medical science, that if
Yes.
people,
Yes.
people, if the woman is not able to conceive, they've stopped blaming the woman, because that's what it used to be. Now, people are going and getting tested and finding out whether it's an issue with the man or the woman, and then they're rectifying it. That's why, IVF and all has become so prominent. That's why even surrogacy is okay now. Like, remember, Shanti, how Shilpa Shetty was being
A
mocked,
shame. Yes.
like literally shamed for having a surrogate mother, until she came out and had to give explanation that she has an autoimmune disorder. That even conceiving the first child for her was very, very difficult. So, so
Yeah. Yes.
so imagine that if I decide to have, like, go for surrogacy or something like that, because I have undergone so many surgeries and stuff like that, people will start shaming me. People will start saying, oh my God, yeah, she's very successful, she's got too much of attitude, and therefore,
Yes.
she doesn't want anything to happen to her, so she decides to go for surrogacy. Nobody will check that what my reason is. If I decide to adopt, oh my God, oh yeah, I'm sure she can't have a baby, or maybe she had the baby from some other relationship. But I am asking you, and why I'm talking about all
Mm-hmm.
of this, Shakti, is that I don't think it's a man to woman issue at all. I think
No.
the issue is more of a woman to woman.
Yes.
I
Yes.
think I
And
think
yeah.
the misconstrued concepts of feminism is actually taking a dagger and stabbing us in the back, because you're
Yes.
saying that I'm not empowered when I already know I'm empowered. My worry is that I don't use my empowerment in the right way. You know, you have had so many, experiences, right? Where a friend of yours has fallen in love with a man who was scared because he was important.
Yes.
I want you to, like, share the story. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. So she was in love with a person who wasn't who had that issue, physical issue with him. and later she came to know he was a he was a player.
Right.
See, so his psychology, look at his psychology show. He had issues, but
Right.
having so many girlfriends, what will he ultimately do? Nothing,
He's
right?
trying to prove a
He,
point that he can have so
yes,
many women.
yeah, then having so many women around will empower him in some way, because the society will blame him for being impotent, right? This issue is not spoken about, and we have demonized the men. See, we speak so badly about, one way we fight that, women should not be called barren, right? It's bad thing. Women
Yeah.
should
Yeah.
not be pointed out for their fertility. Then if a man has these issues, why will we speak to him like, you are not a real man? What is his fault in this? I want to know. Such men, what's happening, Shom? They are so depressed, they can't speak about this, they can't reveal this to anybody. Even taking treatment is considered taboo, and they have become the person. Yeah. And they become demons like that. They will
True.
have a wife, they will have children, but this thing will not come out. Sometimes they do have children. Not all impotent men are like, it's not like they
No, I
can't have
know.
children, they can
Yeah.
have. So what they will do is that at home, wife mocks. I know guys who are mocked by wives for this issue. So what they
Right.
do, they go on repeatedly experimenting with all the women, any woman
Right.
they find. They have a hope that maybe if I find real love, maybe this might be solving. So
Mm-hmm.
many women became the victims in his experimentation,
Mm-hmm.
right? But he is also an ultimate victim with all that depression, all that low self esteem. I know
Right.
what all he did to cover that low self esteem. All this
Right.
is a drama to cover up his low self esteem. And I
Right.
blame, you know, he was like, I know that on his in his life he was blamed by the spouse lots of times because of this issue. What is
Mm-hmm.
his ultimate fault in this? If he's born with that,
Right.
she could have, yeah, he can always go and take the treatment. I don't know if it's the arrogance of not going to treatment, one. Second,
Right.
the shame being daily told by, gaslighted by someone daily, that you're not a man, you're not a man, you're not
Yeah.
satisfying.
Yeah.
So see, one way we are speaking about women's issues, who will speak about all these things? A
Exactly.
guy told me, yeah,
Shanti, today's show is not about women. Today's show is about
exactly.
being neutral towards the
Hmm.
other gender. Because if you do not empower men, there is
Yeah.
no question of equality for women.
Yes.
Because one,
And
there is
yeah.
no sexual equality. That battle does not exist. There is a reason I have two X chromosome and you have two X chromosome and they have an X and Y. There's a reason for it. There's a reason I'm already empowered that I can give birth and I can give life. So I don't need a pseudo empowerment. The reason I'm called Shakti, and there are so many invocational hymns in the name of Shakti in the Upanishads and the Vedas, is for a purpose. There's a reason that India literally praise to Shakti, and the number of women idols that we have are higher than men. So all those is out of, there is no debate on that. There is no, this
Yes.
show is not about empowerment. This show is about issues which are purely due to us not empowering the men enough. Us not
Yes.
telling the men that it's okay to not be fully adequate because you're a human being. It's okay for you to talk about your issues and cry. It's okay that if you were molested, you can seek help and you can come out of that baggage so that you don't carry that baggage with you and torture the women in your life for the rest of your life. It's okay to seek for love if you're not happy in something, just like it's okay for you and me to do it. And
Yes.
it's okay. You know what? The thing is, I want you to continue your chain of thought, but you just very rightly said, Shanti, and that's why you are on this show, that it's not about the women empowerment of the women. It is the men who need more attention.
Yes. Who will speak about their issues like this? See, legally there is a woman called Deepika Narayan Bharadwaj who takes up all the fake domestic violence cases and all. And but then who will actually speak about their emotional issues? Men have to be forming groups, and they should start talking about these things seriously, because it's damaging to them also. Because
Yeah,
we have all confined them to work. Their sole concentration is on work. They are not concentrating on their emotions or the result of their actions, which are causing emotional trauma to others. It might be a spouse, it might be sister, a friend, anybody. They are not considering emotions a part of their psyche at all, a part of their being at all. We clearly say men are not wired to feel emotions, but they do feel, and when they suppress like this, it comes out as violence.
True.
Many men are violent for this purpose, and this is not an excuse. And but this is not an excuse. If they have issues, they today with all the awareness shown, do you think only me and you are talking about it? Many psychologists are also talking about this issue.
Yeah.
With all the
Yeah.
help available, any guy can go to a psychologist and talk about his issues, right? If he's having a physical issue, there are
Hold
doctors to help.
on. Shanti, going to a psychologist or a psychiatrist means you're mad.
At
You're
22,
mad.
I went to a psychologist. Yeah, I might be bad. Oh, it's okay.
I so openly talk about having battles with it
Yes.
so openly.
Yeah.
If, if you don't feel good in your mind, just like you don't
Mm-hmm.
feel good in your body, you need
This
help.
pandemic, I'm taking therapy. I'm under therapy right now. I'm talking to a wonderful lady called Manju Mudi. I have another psychologist called Dr. Virendra Chenoju based in Hyderabad. I'm telling that openly. I need
Yeah,
Manju's help. I need Dr. Virendra's help regarding my, how to put my things, put all my faculties where I
yeah.
want to put. Yeah,
Absolutely.
I want to do that.
I have like I go and see my psychiatrist is Dr. Madhukar, who's one of the most sought after in Bangalore, and he's been with me like he's a very close friend of my dad's, and he's been with
Mm-hmm.
me my entire journey. Indeed, like I had taken a lot of my friends to him, and he when I sometimes I'm very hard on myself, Shanti. Sometimes I'm like because of
Type A.
yeah, like type A, very hard on myself, and he tells me, "What's wrong with you?" Like I'll give you an example, and because I said this show is not censored, it holds no bar. I have been cheated on, like where most people would be surprised that, oh my god, like look at her, how can she be cheated on? I'm like, oh yes, and guess what? The excuse of the guys was, "You make me insecure. You make me insecure." So he after some time in my relationship stopped being physically attached to me, and I started questioning what's going on, like why are you not as attached to me as you were before. And his excuse, and he was already cheating on me, like I caught him once, I caught him twice, I caught him thrice, and he was already cheating on me, and I was like, why are you doing this to me? Right, what's wrong? Like, let's work on something. No, 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 you make me too insecure. But the day I decided I'm going to walk out, and I'm not going to be a part of that that traumatic relationship, then a lot of questions came to me that, oh my god, what were you doing? How could you move on? How could you move on? Like, oh my god, really, you moved on? Like, how is that possible? But nobody came to be there for me or help me when years together I was in depression trying to battle that issue, and I was
Nobody
belittled.
did.
I was belittled for it. So imagine the kind of taboo that we have when we are actually seeking help. Because you talk about seeking help, most people will not go to a psychiatrist, Shanti, because they still feel
Another
unless
big mistake Shom people are doing, they're posting on Facebook, right? Contact me, contact me. You know how many blackmails are happening later? So, through you, I would like to tell to people seek help with a professional.
yeah,
Do you know this aspect of depression? People say, come on, I will counsel you, I mean, I will talk to you, I'm here, listening to you. But after a while, these very same people are they will have your calls recorded, they will have your chats with them, and then they are being what do you call, blackmailed for money. The victims are being blackmailed. See, first depression, add this trauma to them.
can you imagine? Oh
Can
my
you
god,
imagine? So through you, I would like to tell people it's fine to take help. Go and talk to a professional. A professional will have ethics,
yeah,
right? And sometimes people call me and say, "I'm low. What can I do?" One point I can hear, but I have triggers for
of
all
course,
what all I went through. I have triggers. I can't give my ear. I can't give lots of time to people in that my emotional space. I get disturbed, so I can't do that. Even you will have your limits, Shom, after a while, right? You will have your
absolutely.
limits. Imagine daily I call you and say, Shom, I'm feeling low. I
No, no,
think
no.
you know me.
I openly say, there are people who've
Yeah,
reached out to me, right? Who look up to me and reached out to me. But I've told them that, listen, I'm there for you, but I'm not an expert. I'm not going to fix your
exactly,
problem. See,
exactly.
when I put out a post and say, reach out to me, it means I will get you the help you need. It does not mean
I
I
will
will.
direct you to the help. I'll
I am
direct you to the
not a
help.
psychiatrist. I am not an expert. I'm not going to sit and counsel you. You need
Yes.
if you want to help yourself, you need to first be aware that you need an expert, and you need to listen to that expert.
Yeah.
I'm going to, talk about, because you said, the domestic violence is something as a subject that you were talking about. So I said that today's show is going to be about colorism. It's going to be about sexism, and most importantly, sexism, stereotyping, and prejudice by women towards women.
Yes.
This is not about men at all, and we touched upon that. Now, talking about relationships. So, you are in a relationship, whether it's a marriage, whether it's a live in,
Yeah. Marriage.
it's any other form of relationship. And to me, marriage is secondary. You can be in any relationship. If you're living together, if you're going through challenges together. My question to you, Shanti, domestic violence is on an all-time rise. Why do you think that's happening? Like I'm at least, like, with my family, and I'm not married, so my situation is completely different. But domestic violence, like, you're married, I know, but you have a beautiful relationship, but you have friends who are going through a lot of it. I have friends who are going through a lot of it. Why do
Even
you
I
think?
went through a lot. I wouldn't say exactly, but every couple. Shom, here I'm going to debunk the myth of great happy relationships. Shom, there are no perfect relationships. They are not happy relationships. Thanks for saying that. But mine has its own challenges. What is shameful about it? Everybody, every time I put some sad status in Facebook, or general or forwarded stuff, people immediately message me. What's happening?
Oh,
Is
oh yeah,
everything all right? Yeah,
yeah, it
is
happens to
everything
me.
all right between you people? Why are you in Hyderabad when he's in Chennai? Why do you go 2 months every year to spend summer in Hyderabad? Have you people separated? These kind of questions. And Shom, there is no happy relationship. The concept of having too much happiness, having perfect relationship, having too much love, this is messing up with people's head. Too much expectations from both sides, seeing others happy relation. I will say my relationship is what I maintain every day, what he maintains every day.
Effort, right?
Yeah,
Make an
the
effort.
effort. Yeah, the effort to adjust. Now when I said unconventional work, it's a shock for my family. My family is not used to that. We are used to degrees like CMA. My CMA is still pending, that. So we are used to nice professional degrees and work in MNCs. That's what we are supposed to do. When I say I'm an entrepreneur, I'm not available whole day, I'm not available whole month to people, and end of the month no salary, what kind of impact does it have on everybody in the family? Not just my spouse, but my mom, my sister. Everybody's asking what's happening, right? So relationships are about what you maintain. There is no perfect relationship. And domestic violence happened during this lockdown with so many people because both the spouses have come to see some aspect about each other which they were hiding all this while. They were hiding all this while
they
because
were
they were
they were
going
they
out.
were married, but they were really not in a relationship, right?
Yeah, yeah. So they see usually in arranged marriages, I know marriages which happen in a period of 1 month. In 1 month, what do you know about a person? Of course, knowing the entire life or a decade is also not enough. Yes, I agree on that. But certain aspects have been hidden, considering the matchmaking stuff and all. Again, coming back to that show, so many aspects are hidden. Show how can people know? Once these things come out and women question or men question, there is domestic violence. Mostly, it happens with women. Where was the money going? You come to know. Why were you chatting so long? Now you come to know, right? Why
Right.
were you not coming home on time? Now you know. And why are the finances like this? Now you know. Why are
True.
not spending time with the child? All the emotional aspects of a relationship have come out in the pandemic in open. Of course, people were locked in, but all the aspects of relationship or a personality are open. Now
Correct.
slowly people realize that this is not the person I liked. This is not
Right.
the person whom I married. Now they
Right.
have to decide if they have to continue it or stop it, right?
True.
Hence domestic violence is happening in situations where they can sit and talk. Like at my home everything is peaceful, but at
Right.
places where they can't talk, where the guys have too much ego or the girls have too much ego, it is either if girl has too much ego, it leads to separation. If a guy
Correct.
has too much ego, it leads to domestic violence. Usually men don't leave shown. They will act in such way that they make women leave, and they will have the reason to tell people then that she left, I did not leave. She went to the lawyer, I did not go. She initiated the divorce, I did not ask her to leave. Right? You see the strategy there also. I have
Right.
seen many men who are really crappy, but they never went and filed the divorce. They made the woman go and file the divorce so that
True.
it's very easy for the next marriage to happen quickly. I did
Mm-hmm.
not ask her to leave, she left. I tried to save the marriage, she did not. So you see how strategic everything is.
No, it and also, that brings me to another thing, Shanti.
Hmm.
Tell me something about this. Is it wrong to fall in love with the same sex?
No, I don't think so. No, it is not wrong.
Is it
It
wrong?
happens.
And I'm asking
It,
you, is it wrong? But then, is
it's
it
not
wrong?
wrong.
Is it
No,
wrong
it's
to
not
do?
wrong.
Is it wrong? Finally, our education system, like, with the new education policy now, the transgenders
Hmm.
also have equal right to education from school. So a school
That's
is
great.
now bound to take a transgender child and give them equal opportunity alongside another normal child. And I think transgender is equal normal.
That's a revolution. That's actual thing. That's actual
Yeah,
development, I would
so
say.
proud. I'm so proud of our government for these
Yes.
things. Finally, it's a ministry of education, and education is not about degrees. Finally, the changes are
Yes.
happening. But what's true education? Isn't true education about acceptance of another individual for whatever preferences they have? Like, I'm asking you, is it
Yeah.
okay? Is it okay to marry someone knowing that your sexual preference is not them? So you're in a straight marriage, but you're a gay
Mhm.
man or a woman. Is it
I don't
okay?
think it's okay.
Is it
See, it
fair?
depends on the partners, Shom. Those who cannot take the social acceptance part of that, they have a pact together. I do
Right.
know couples like this. They
Yeah.
have a pact together and they're happy together.
Very.
I know certain people, they have adjusted to the fact that she knows he is into guys, and she has another man in her life who obviously wouldn't legalize that relationship. Both
Mm-hmm.
are happy, and they treat each other as friends. For some,
Mm-hmm.
it works out, but
Mm-hmm.
when they hide that fact, I
Mm-hmm.
know a person who I believe 99% he was into guys, but he
Mm-hmm.
married a woman and ruined her life. Coming open, and that is better than see, people, image is important than character shown. Image is more important than
Even
ethics.
after
So
Article 377 has been abolished, even if it's okay in our
yeah,
country to be in a same sex relationship, even then you're saying
yeah.
that people
So
should.
legally, dowry is wrong. How many families
Mhm.
do you know, or do you know, have taken dowry? You tell me
Oh,
honestly.
a lot of them. And
You belong to that high society, I believe. So
they call
let
it
me know.
dowry. They don't even call it dowry. There is a smart way of doing it.
Gifts,
It,
gifts.
there is a smart way, Shanti. Guess
What
what?
is that?
So in
Mm-hmm.
Bengal, this is not really dowry. So let me tell you this, okay? So a
Mm-hmm.
girl's family would give everything. So let's say I'm getting married to a guy and I'm used to certain kind of living. So my father is gonna buy the bed, the sofa, the car,
Mm-hmm.
everything. And I'm talking about this if I was not this successful, this capable, where I can.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
If I would be in a normal Bengali family where I'm not like, I've just graduated, let's say, not yet doing a great job. So the father usually would give, so there's no dowry in terms of money as such, but they would give all
Mm-hmm.
this, other assets because it's a way of doing it. There is a thing we call in Bengali called totto. But hey, hold on. It comes from both the guy's side and the girl's side.
Okay.
The other thing in Bengali, which I really like, is that the entire responsibility of marriage is not on the girl. The
Very
girl
nice.
family will only be a part of the marriage, but the
Mm-hmm.
reception, the moment the girl leaves the her house and goes to the guy's house, the reception is something that is taken care by the guy's family.
Well,
But
yes.
till the exchange of gifts happen, it's a way of exchange, right? There is a barter system. What did you give?
Mm-hmm.
What did I give? You have to give my family these many sarees. I have to do this for your family. So the concept of give and take is
Mm-hmm.
there. But when you
Okay.
when you say Java, especially in North and other, like, it's there in Hyderabad also. I know that if you, I hate to say this, that if you are working in United States, your minimum is that you get 1.52 crores for sure because that's your valuation, right? So
Yeah, so, sort of things. But
valuation of
yeah.
groom is dependent on which country he is in. But anyways, jokes apart, coming to the main point, like you said, yes, even if it's illegal, it doesn't stop because it's a way to
Yeah.
show your status. It's a way.
Again, I tell you, our society in one line, image is more important than ethics. So
So
you can actually hide the fact about your being girls hid the fact that they cannot bear a child. You think it's fair on a guy?
can you believe it? There is a guy who actually has commented, and his name is Sandeep Kashyap.
Mm-hmm.
Why these beauties are fighting? Go and enjoy with your only hubby. Now
Only
you
hubby.
only hubby. So first of all,
So
Sandeep, Sandeep, I think you are not really listening to this
Sandeep,
conversation.
I know a great psychiatrist for you.
Yeah. First of all, I agree with the beauties part of things, but
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't have a hubby. That's first and foremost. And you assuming that we have is a misconception. Two, these beauties are not fighting. These beauties are actually discussing how to empower people like you, who come from a very skewed mindset because of which the society is suffering, and how women like us can help you fix those issues. So you don't make comments like this about.
Sandeep, you aren't surrounded by intelligent women. I'm sorry to say that. Even maybe you are surrounded, but you choose to ignore that aspect of them. You're not used to loud-mouthed women, or you're not used to women who speak their minds. We have our thoughts, our brains, and everything is in place. So maybe you should go and watch some Netflix.
Go,
It's not a
go
place for
and
you.
enjoy with your only hubby. Like, I can't get
Okay.
over this statement. Like,
Why
whenever
does he think only hubby? Yeah. Why
it's,
should he use that word only? I don't understand.
I know. Means it's what you know now. You know why this particular question was so important, Shanti,
Yes.
because that's and I'm sure Sandeep is very educated, at least by degrees. But
Mm-hmm.
if he's following us and listening to us, I'm grateful he's doing. But Sandeep, please, next time, do not make a comment like this, because this is exactly what we're fighting on. I'm glad you did it, because now you know that you need help. But these
Yeah.
kind of things only allows that prejudice, that discrimination, to become more and more strong, for which we are fighting against. We are actually
And
fighting.
some people like this guy will go and tell everybody that I'm sapiosexual. I'm attracted to intelligent women. Sure.
Yes, that's another term. Have you seen now? Like, most of the people have this particular, what do you say, characteristic added to their profile.
Mm-hmm.
Sapiosexual.
Yeah, I heard it so many times. I just I want to laugh a lot.
Yeah.
See, people like this who have degrees, they will go and tell they marry very weak and submissive women.
Mhm.
A very other they've empowered these other women, and why the hell he's following you, show by the way.
I have no idea. I have a lot of
Yeah,
people who follow me,
yeah, they
Shanti.
follow people like you. They follow
I
people like
don't
you.
discriminate, Shanti. I want to
Yeah, I know.
empower.
We don't.
We
Yeah.
just, the reason we are having this discussion is about that you and I are not discriminating. We are
Yeah.
not sexist. We are okay with anybody following us. I just want to help as many people as I can, as not their psychiatrist, but with it, with the right knowledge, with the right empowerment. Because
Yes. Yes.
इस हमारे भारत को, हमारे प्रोग्रेसिव भारत को, जहाँ पे प्रधानमंत्री काम कर रहे हैं कि हम कैसे अपने आप को और अपलिफ्ट करें, जहाँ पे वो बोल रहे हैं कि लोकल को वोकल करके ग्लोबल पे ले जाओ, वहां पे वी आर नॉट एम्पावरिंग द मैन, वी आर नॉट एजुकेटिंग द मैन और एंड द women we should empower the men, and we should, I think, educate the women a little more, so that these kind of discrimination and prejudice is gone. And Shanti, these are my thoughts, and I would love to see how time flies. We're already 1 hour 15 minutes into this
Yeah.
show.
I'm
And
also seeing that. Yeah.
it's going on, right? Because that's what happens when two educated and empowered women talk to each other. Shanti,
Yes.
a question, right? We talked
Mm-hmm.
about colorism, we touched upon sexism, and we talked about relationships. What is your mantra? Like, what do you think gonna be the few things that we not just by talking but by action can help improvise?
Well, Shom, I'll tell you first thing, independence of every individual. It's not just financial independence, emotional independence, social independence, intellectual independence. Now, you see that Indian matchmaking where they're dependent on the mom to select the girl for you as if it's some shirt or furniture for home.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Even for girls, the same thing goes. Every human being should have a mind of their own, which has been buried by this family sentiments, emotions. Girls who are treated like princesses by dads are not being helped by them when domestic violence occurs. Dad is a
Mm-hmm.
part of patriarchy.
Mm-hmm.
Similarly, even mothers will not help guys who are going through domestic violence. I know few. So youth people should have their own mind. They should understand that just because I'm a beautiful girl doesn't mean I can't be intelligent and successful and confident, compassionate. Look at us, show. Aren't we compassionate? Aren't we good girls? Aren't we, compassionate people, kind people, successful people? We are beautiful. We are everything. Just like that, even men can be good looking. They can be having great career. They can be very emotional, sensitive, strong, and women also can be this. A person should add as many, what do you call that, aspects, what do you call that, facets of personality to themselves as much as possible.
Right.
Else, we are everybody confined to one thing. I'm intelligent, fine, let me be intelligent. I'm beautiful, let me be beautiful and have my life around it. I'm good at maintaining relations, so that is only my thing. Tomorrow if someone dumps me, where will I go and work? That is an important thing. So every human being should understand how many beautiful dimensions are there to life and personality one can have. Let's explore that. I've always been asked, why do you require a telescope? Why will you go and see? And what is the need to be an influencer right now? I'm endorsing three brands, yours being one of them. So
Yeah.
why all this? Why all this? Why means, when I have so many dimensions of life, why should I stick to only one?
True.
Ethics is a dimension, emotions is a dimension, morals is a dimension. People don't want ethics, people want image. You can have image, you can have ethics, you can have everything you want. This
True.
is not taught by parents. And even I was taught when I was young, I was always about wealth and fame. I'm from a very lower middle class family where people just are happy, they're educated, but they're happy. And when I used to speak these things, they used to scold me. Aren't you happy? Like, why is this happening? Why should you think about all these things? Tomorrow, a guy will come and buy a home for you. Why should you think of car? Why should you think of Mercedes? I used to promise all the relatives, homes and Mercedes cars. I was when I was young, that dreaming girl. Slowly, it got subdued because of the conditioning, and now I'm back to my original self. It took a decade to come out of that conditioning. So let's
True.
all realize that we are all conditioned. It's more than hair conditioner.
I
More than
know.
your hair conditioner. Society is the biggest conditioner you have. You're born with that. Let's understand ourselves, the society, parents, and another aspect. We're always reading books, reading thoughts of people, and forgetting our own self. Reading is not bad. It should add to you rather than minus something from you and replace yourself.
True.
Right?
True.
So many
True.
friends of mine quote all the authors. I am like, oh my god, if I read so much, I'm losing my personality. So
Mhm.
everybody should conserve their personality shown. They will be amazed to realize what they can do, what they can think, what they can feel. And if I'm fulfilled today, it's because of that. It's not because of motherhood. It's not because of marriage or maybe success also. It's not because
True.
of all these things. It's because of my own self discovery, of my
True.
own immense potential, right?
True. True.
My own fresh thinking. It's amazing to have great thoughts from. Really
Right.
nice. At work, it's amazing to have nice thoughts, new thoughts. My
Right.
thoughts are not what 100-year-old people have told. My thoughts are new. I will take references from there, but I won't replace my thoughts with them.
I
Today,
love it.
a big mistake everybody is doing is taking too much of role models and forgetting that they themselves can be a role model. And these role
Absolutely.
models will be outside your home. Modi ji बाहर से होंगे,
Correct.
जयललिता बाहर से है, विवेकानंदा ही इज फ्रॉम आउटसाइड. अगर तेरे घर से कोई ऐसे बनने वाले हैं, तो पहली बात हम ये बोलते हैं, क्या जरूरत है इन सब चीजों की, right? We still can't take that aspect of
I love it.
someone
I
from
love it.
your home,
Love
from
it.
someone from your circles, from your relations, becoming something big which you saw on TV, which you saw on screen, or maybe in media. Very few people can take it. So you can do anything. Every human being has to understand that. And even if you're dark, it doesn't matter. Fair doesn't matter. Your city doesn't matter. Language doesn't matter. Company doesn't matter. And today, people, I don't have my own company. I don't have my own team that much. I don't have wealth. I don't have great, help coming from everywhere shown. But yeah, many people do help. It's not like that. But I'm telling you, by birth, nothing came.
That's what women should empower. Like, I met you when you
Yeah.
reached out to me on something to do with Facebook, and the person who connected us
Yes.
has no relevance in our lives. But look at what we are doing together. We are.
Exactly, Shom. Exactly.
I get an opportunity, I bring it to you because I know you can do a phenomenal job with it. I
Thank
think
you so much for that.
Shanti, women need to stand up for women. Women need
Yes.
to value the empowerment that we already have. Instead
Yes.
of fighting battles which are not necessary, our focus should be on picking up and working towards ideologies that will allow us and our families to have a healthier, a more balanced, and a more ethical life. I think that is just like what you said, that
Exactly. Dreams
because
over drama show. Dreams should be over
I love
drama.
it. I love it.
Right?
I think that's the statement of the day, like, of the show. Dreams
Yes.
over drama, ethics over status, and most
Yes.
importantly, valuing the empowerment that we have. And
Yes.
all the men who are watching today, we just want to salute you all, because I'm sure it's not easy to be in your shoes. It's not easy to be told not to cry. It's not easy to be told that you have to be always man enough. It's not easy to be told that you have the responsibility to shoulder your family, and आप ही को आप ही को अपने परिवार के लिए रोजगार करके उनकी देखभाल करनी पड़ेगी. It is not true. A man can be the chef of the house, just like the best chefs of the world are are men, and a woman can drive the economy of the house, just like the best economists of the world are women. So the stereotyping, the discrimination, the
Yes.
prejudice is the mindset. And you said so beautifully, and I'm gonna remember this always, Shanti. Dreams over drama and ethics over
Energy over emotions.
energy. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I coined these terms, dreams over drama, energy over emotions, and ethics over status or prestige. That's most important. And Shom, I would like to tell everybody out here, when I was young, when I was poor, when I was small, I was as confident as I am today with everything. Like,
Right.
aaj bhi zyada kuch nahi. But still, whatever it is. I have
No.
seen people from perfect families not being as confident as me, and I was battling many things at home, family problems, financial problems, everything. So, anybody can be confident, anybody can be happy, and don't let your world revolve around happiness and love. These are byproducts of your efforts.
And
So,
aren't you responsible for your happiness? Like, my mantra is self-love. I'm like,
why look for happiness here? First
अगर
thing,
खुद से प्यार अगर खुद से प्यार नहीं करोगे तो किसी और से
yeah,
क्या प्यार मांगोगे? If you
yeah,
don't fall in love with yourself, how can the world love you? Right? Like,
yes,
how can you even love someone else? Right? And I'm a
yes.
big believer of that. I'm a big believer of self-love. I'm a big believer that we need to be our own champion. If we don't promote ourselves, nobody else will promote us.
That's called narcissism. Two aspects of society, Shom. They will say, love yourself. If you are loving yourself, Shom is so narcissistic. I don't know the
Yeah.
pronunciation, narcissistic, something like, big
Like
spelling.
narcissism is better than pessimism. So I choose
Yeah,
narcissism.
yeah, I'm also that. Hey,
So
Nars is a great cosmetic brand, also, right?
yeah,
So we love it.
see, now we are talking. That's two ladies talking. Shanti, I think it was an absolute pleasure to have you on the
Thank
show,
you,
and I
Shom.
couldn't have done my 10th episode with anyone than you, because our lives are so similar, yet so different. But what binds us together is the vision that we have for the country that we represent, the youth that we represent, the ideology that we represent, and most importantly, we are the new Bharat. We are the women of the new Bharat, and we are the anchors that will change the way the society sees and function. I know, and I know for sure that I'll not be that mother-in-law in the episode of matchmaking. Neither will you be. I know that you're going to educate and bring up your son to teach him to cry, to tell him to be, vulnerable. It's okay to be that, so he can teach, or rather treat his wife or his girlfriend with that compassion. And I know for sure that I will bring up my daughter to believe that being dark is being beautiful. Being a good human, having a good soul, having a good thought process is the true definition of beauty. So I salute you, and I salute all the empowered women of this country and worldwide who were listening to us today. And I hope that we were able to inspire you in the little way we can. And I hope that you all would treat yourself well and treat those around you better. So, Shanti, any other parting thoughts before we sign off today?
Well, the same thing I told you, that every person should explore themselves, not confine themselves to anything. And it's upon you. If you see something, speak up. You are responsible for the society or building. You are the society, in fact. Don't blame society. Instead of that, as Mr. Kumarvel of Naturals always says, that you are building a society, and the silence of a good person is worse than the violence of a bad person. Mr. Kumarvel, I'm very grateful to what all you did for me, and he's a wonderful person. You should meet him someday. So he
Absolutely.
gives this amazing line that silence of good person is worse than the violence of a bad person. So
True.
people, don't be silent at every time.
True.
Choose to speak. Nothing will happen. People will be scared of you. Nothing else will
No,
happen.
absolutely. Even in Bengali, we have a saying, जो अगर जो अन्याय सहने वाला अन्याय करने वाले से बड़ा
Yes,
दुश्मन है, ज्यादा बड़ा
yes,
दुश्मन.
yes,
Okay,
yes.
with that, I'm going to sign off. Namaste to all of you. Happy Eid to
Thank
everyone
you.
celebrating Eid. And Shanti, thank you so much for
Thank
joining
you
me.
so much, show. Nice chat. I forgot
Absolutely.
it was a
I
live.
know, I know. It felt like we were sitting in our the lounge room, and just two girls, two
Yeah,
accomplished women, empowered women, chatting away with each other. So thank you so much, Shanti. Stay awesome, keep inspiring, and look forward to doing some great stuff with you. Thank you
sure,
everyone for
sure.
watching.
Thank you.
सबको मेरा आत्मीय नमस्ते. ध्यान से रहिए, खुश रहिए, और सबसे ज्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट है, अपने आप को प्यार कीजिए, जो आपके आजू बाजू है उनको प्यार कीजिए, और याद रखिएगा, हर कोई वही याद रखता है कि आप किसी को कैसे ट्रीट करते हो. पैसा कितना है, बाकी रुतबा कितना है, लोग भूल जाते हैं. सो पीपल रिमेंबर काइंडनेस, सो कीप इन माइंड टू बी काइंड. थैंक यू सो मच फॉर वॉचिंग टुडेज कोविड वॉरियर शोज. टिल नेक्स्ट वीक, बाय बाय, गुड नाइट.
Thank you, show. Bye. Thank
I'll
you,
end the
everyone.
podcast. Yeah.
Thank you.